there, I am the Knight. Here are your 7 questions on a somewhat live edition of 7 Questions for Knight. Let me just tip the camera there. Question 1 from Bouncy TH. Have you read the Archie Sonic comics and the Fleetway Sonic comics? If so, which do you prefer and why? I have read both. I mean, obviously, Satam fans know the existence of the Archie Sonic comics before the existence of the cartoon series. And whilst Archie does do some things differently to what Fleetway did, because Fleetway, in terms of comic books, as far as comic books go, to my understanding, they were the closest thing to the video game adaptations. Now, I've not read any of Archie's game adaptations of things like Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, so it's not my place to say or criticize anything in regards to that, so I can't really say anything. I do like Archie's style. The fact that once Satam kicked in, they did start using these sort of likenesses on the characters. I've only got like 1 or 2 Archie comic books of Sonic, so I don't really know enough about it to give a valid opinion. But Fleetway, I've pretty much read every single issue of Sonic the comic, as we know it as over here in the UK. And although Sonic has a very boisterous personality that is kind of borderlining between anti-hero and not necessarily a bully, but Sonic does act like a jerk from time to time. But as far as stories go, it was a little bit edgier, a little bit darker in places. Not trying to say for one second that Fleetway was like Batman in any shape, form or fashion, but they did tend to do things, from what I remember reading, that Archie's weren't doing. I mean, only going by the few issues that I've read. You know, not really going to make too many opinions on that. But honestly, Fleetway, because, you know, it was what I grew up reading. Because I believe Fleetway started publishing Sonic in about 93, and they discontinued in about 2002 because Sonic's popularity was just the popularity of the comic, more to the point. They were just doing reprints and reprints, and from what I understand from limited sources that I have got before the comic was continued online, which they're doing a very good job of, by the way. It was just a case of, apparently it was something like costing too much to keep the comic going, or something along that. I don't know too much about that, but I do. Basically, long story short, Fleetway, simply because for me it delivered what I needed from it as a fan. Question 2: would I like to see a season 3 and 4 to Satam, and if so, what would you like to see in it? Yes, I would like to see 2 follow-on seasons to the 2nd season, and I would like to have seen what would have happened in the aftermath of Robotnik's defeat, and what development, further development of the characters would have happened. You know, just to see where Sonic would have stood on essentially being surplus to requirement, because as he said at the end of Doomsday, hey, without a villain, what are us heroes going to do? So it would have been interesting just to see how everyone would have dealt with the aftermath. Just to see where everyone was at that particular point in time. Question 3. Of all the videos you have made on YouTube, which one do you think was the best? Now, some people may differ with this opinion. It's up to them at the end of the day. But I honestly think the best video that I've ever done was Night Watch Special 28, Look Back at Day Turns to Night. simply because when I went into writing the script for that issue of for that special of Nightwatch, I thought, I can't throw gags into this because it was such a dark and emotionally charged episode of Knight Rider. I thought, I can't approach this with the usual shtick. You know, it was one of those ones, had to think outside the box, for want of a better expression, and I think I delivered that. Obviously, some people may differ, and they'll come up with their own opinions and declarations of what they believe to be the best video I've ever done. But that's the beautiful thing about the internet. Everybody has a different opinion, and you know, I think it should stay that way. Hope that answers your question on that. Question 4 is from Firebird Freak 87. Happy New Year, buddy. What is the worst video game you've ever played? Oh no. I must say this to you, Firebird. You're always hitting me with the good questions. Worst game I've ever played, Need for Speed Shift. Simply because the gaming mechanics, the cars were just so undrivable on that. I mean, I tried doing a couple of drifts in a 2010 Shelby GT500 Mustang on the corners in that game, and it's next to near impossible. In terms of photorealism, by that point it was the closest thing we'd had done, but that they had done to doing a photoreal Need for Speed. But Shift, it was just a terrible game, and of course, to make matters worse, EA are doing another one. One question, EA. Why? Question 5 is from Commander Zaktan. He writes, have you seen Professor Layton and the Eternal Diva DVD movie in your region? Until you asked me this question, Commander, I was not made aware of this movie. If I happen to see it, I might give it a look, but to answer your question, no, I have not seen it. Question 6 is from Firebird Freak 87 again. What's up, buddy? Since previous attempts to bring back Sonic Satam have failed, would you like to see the 3rd season of Sonic Satam turned into a video game, like how Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis did when they turned Ghostbusters 3 into Ghostbusters the video game? That would be an interesting proposition, just to see what the writers would do to continue along the lines of where Season 2 left off. Now, we all know the late Ben Hurst, you know, sad loss as a writer and a producer, you know, was to the cartoon world, because I think if someone else had done Satam instead of him, I don't think we would have gotten the same series. You know, it might have been called Satam, but might not necessarily have the same feel and tone the way he did it. And, you know, the guy is very much beloved and respected to Saturday morning Sonic fans, and rightly so. I think if he was still here and they approached him with the idea of taking his ideas for a Season 3 and turning it into a video game, I think it would have gone well. But I think it's one of those situations we're never going to know. I would like to see what they would have done. Pretty much how from question 2 from Bouncy CH, I would like to have seen, you know, the character advancement development in the characters, just to see what, you know, trials and challenges they would have to go through after the after events of Doomsday. So I'm essentially answering question 2 again, but I think it's apt because it just would have been nice just to see, you know, where the story would have continued next. Question 7, again from Firebird. What are your thoughts on the new Back to the Future, the video game? I have not played the game as such yet. I've seen trailers for it that Telltale Games have done. It does look like they're being really faithful and very attentive to detail with, you know, like these little things and the dialogues and the gags and the lines that we know so well from the movies, that you could tell that, you know, just by looking at trailers and clips alone, this is going to be a faithful Back to the Future game. When I finally get around to playing it myself, you will see a review for it, and you'll know what I think. And here's a bonus question. I know you don't like to speak ill of Sonic the Hedgehog, but what is the one thing you disliked about the franchise, excluding Sonic 06? That's a very good question. What is the one thing I disliked about the franchise, excluding Sonic 360? I think it's the fact that in the last few years, Sega seemed to keep pinning all their hopes on him. I mean, to me, Sonic is always going to be a draw, no matter what, you know, bizarre stories they tagline with him. But I honestly think they could do themselves favours by investing a little bit more time into, say, Streets of Rage or resurrect, Shinobi. I mean, nobody seems to remember that game anymore. It would be nice to also see what they could do if they brought back Alex Kidd. I mean, I know he made a cameo in Sonic and Sega Super All-Stars. There's a mouthful. But no, I think it would just be nice if, you know, just for once, every 2 years, we didn't always see a brand new Sonic game come out. It'd be like, you know, every 3 or 4 years we got to see a Sonic game. You know, just really give the character a break. I've seen snippets of what they're doing with Sonic Colors. It does seem to be going in a similar direction like they did with Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, where it's a little bit comedic, and at times Sonic seems to be borrowing sort of a tone from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air by doing these fourth-wall breaking moments by looking at the camera. And Roger Craig Smith, who is now the new voice actor for Sonic, whenever I hear him play Sonic now, I can hear Darkness the Curse voicing Sonic. I don't know why. It's like if Darkness was being a competent voice actor and was voicing Sonic. I've heard the rest of the voice actors, they're not too bad. Tails at last seems to have something fitting. I mean, Amy Pallant was okay, but wasn't that great. To be fair with Jason Griffith, I think if he'd been given a little bit more time, he could have settled into the character a little bit more, because by the time Sonic Unleashed came around, he looked like he was getting better. But of course, but yet Mike Pollock is still Eggman. But to be fair to Mike Pollock, he is the best Robotnik voice actor out there at the moment. I mean, if Long John Baldry was still alive, I honestly think Sega might have approached him to reprise his role as Robotnik in the games, but we'll never know. But yeah, to answer the question after long drawn out, I think it's the fact that they just rely too much on Sonic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. It's a huge part of my childhood. Something I'm very grateful for knowing and enjoying, but it would be nice if they just gave the character a break for a little while. Well, those have been your 7 questions and a bonus question for this week. You know the drill by now. Leave a comment, leave a question in the comment section below. Leave a PM or leave one on my channel page. But until next time, folks, Q&A out.